But if you have a good support group, whether it's a school, whether it's a church, whether it's your job, whether it's your family, no matter what it is, if you have a support system, not that they're falling all over you, but you can get through this. You can get through this. Then you do get through it. And people kept saying, you're going to survive. And I said, the word is not survival. The word is overcoming.
Yeah, that's a good
I don't want to
word.
be a survivor.
You want to be an overcomer. Yeah.
To the situation.
Yes.
And I'm having a ball. I'm enjoying life. I really am enjoying life.
Yeah. And now I'm going to touch on this now. Harriet, you lost your daughter, and she died during childbirth. So that was one of the major changes that anyone's ever experienced.
Yes, it was, Marsha. And that's what I was going to say when Vicki was talking, and you were saying, you know, she's a widow. The change of a mother losing a child is so
horrible,
devastating. It's, you know, a lot of times people say, I understand what you're going through, but really, you really don't understand. And the reason you don't, even though, like, let's say hypothetically that you had lost a child and Vicki had lost a child and Toni had lost a child, it depends on that relationship that you had with that child. In my case, my daughter was my best friend. So when she passed, I mean, when I tell you I was so devastated, not in my forest dreams did I ever think that I would be having to raise her kids.
Right. Yeah.
You know, if I'd have thought anything, I'd have thought that she would have had to help with her sister and her brothers, you know. And so that was very devastating, that change in my life for me. And every day, just as Vicki say, you know, you walking through a process every day, because it's always something that keeps coming up that reminds you, something that keeps coming up that you want to let it go, but then there's always something that comes up that makes you remember that void and that change that took place in your life.
Yeah, and so
there's changes also when you're been let go from a job.
Yes.
There's that kind of a change. Again, the fear comes in, and I'm sorry, even as believers, we're not immune to it.
That's right.
We're not immune to fear. It's just, how far do we carry that?
That's right.
How much of it do we let it rule our life, or rule is not the word, but
dominate our lives.
Dominate our lives. Dominate our lives. But there's changes all now. The change that I hope we bring up is changes that we can't do anything about.
Well, everything, and this is what we're saying. Everything, and Toni brought it from dysfunctional family. Those are circumstances beyond your control.
Well, you have to go back to the upbringing. First of all, in order to deal with where we are in our lives today, a lot of it comes from how we was brought up. Okay, and how we can deal with situations, problems, or even the blessings. You know, how we deal with life itself. It goes back to how in the family structure where we were raised, you know, or not raised. You know what I'm saying?
But see, Toni, I like what Vicki said, because Vicki say changes that we can't do anything about. And the reason I'm arguing your argument is that there is times that things happens and you could have been raised properly and right as a child coming up, and then all of a sudden there's a drastic change that's in your life. You know, sad to say, you know, there's been multiple changes in my life. You know, so you know,
we can all say that.
I'm serious. You know, and
that's a true statement.
I had to deal with some changes with my oldest son, you know, losing my daughter and then having to deal with a change with him. It wasn't the way he was brought up. It was something out of his control that happened with him, you know. And so, you know, and then like Vicki said, how do you deal with something that you have no control over?
Okay,
you know.
But son has choices then. I don't know what you're referring to, but let's just say, if it's a change that has hurt him and he's been devastated by that, okay, what can I do to get out of that? Am I going to let it control me, or am I going to control it? So there's choices.
Yeah, that's right. But see, in his case, he had a mental breakdown. So that's that's something that you got to work. You got to work through that. Through that change. Yeah.
Well, not only that, and talking about kids, I've got 5 kids, and I go through changes every day.
We all do with our children.
I mean, whether it be good changes, and a lot of our good changes are bad changes, but like you're saying. So, and you said something. You said, how does it affect us? Well, as a mother, it's going to affect us because, I mean, it really does. As a mother, and anybody, and another mother. Because, I mean, you've had 2 good kids. Yeah. I mean, you really have. Billy and Linda, from what you've said, they're good. I mean, they might have gone through, made your life miserable when they were little. Like, I mean, when I say like all kids, the responsibility, but when you have grown kids, that changes a lot of parents, especially being a single. And Toni, you've experienced the same thing we have. I mean, and my kids are all. You don't love them any less, but that changes. And then let's go further. Like I'm a grandmother, you're a grandmother, and so we have changes with our grandkids. Yeah. But not only that, okay, not only that changes, but how about when you remarry? A lot of women remarry, and now you've got changes in that atmosphere because what if your husband has his family, has his kids, so there's changes. I think one of the things that I want to say is that women, I think, go through more changes than men. Now, go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt, but
Emotional changes.
I want to agree with you.
Okay.
However, there. Is it because we as women, we verbalize it more?